This is the Sony Cybershot RX100, a prosumer point-and-shoot camera. Almost all manufacturers throw in fancy effects as part of their software package. Popular effects nowadays are fisheye, toy camera, miniature, and aged photos. The hard truth is, none of these matter when you don't have a good image to begin with, and good images begin with the sensor and the lens. That is probably why the highlight of the RX100, and probably a good portion of its price, is definitely the lens it has been equipped with, a Carl Zeiss Variosonar T-Star. This makes it equivalent to the revered range of Carl Zeiss zoom lenses used by professional Sony DSLR users. Earlier, I said that good images were a combination of sensor quality and glass quality, but this camera simply has the best lens in the market today. A maximum aperture of f1.8 gives users plenty of room to play around with light, making background blur very easy to achieve. On the other end, the zoom lens has a maximum aperture of f4.9, a far shot from f1.8 but still decent given the sensor's ISO performance. Experienced photographers using this camera will also appreciate the minimum aperture of f11. Most of the cameras of its class are only able to close down to f8. The 1-inch type CMOS sensor on the RX100 is larger than most compacts today, though not as large as the Canon G1X's 1.5-inch type sensor. The amazing part of this 1-inch sensor is that it's the exact same size as that found on the Nikon J1, which says a lot about the Nikon 1 by the way. ISO noise on the RX100 is very well controlled, and where there is noise it appears in rounded shapes, giving a very natural look to higher ISO images. The maximum usable ISO is around 1600 and 3200, while quality starts to degrade very badly at ISO 6400. I was unable to test the quality of the RAW files as it was a bit too new to be supported by Apple, but the uncompressed JPEGs at the fine quality retain a surprising amount of information that allows you to bring back quite a lot of details in post-processing with some patience and care. There isn't a macro mode that one can activate outside the macro scene. Instead, the camera works on a sort of full-time macro where close distance focusing can be assessed at any time. However, this distance is not the usual macro distance of about 1 cm, but rather 5 cm, and it takes a bit of coaxing to get the camera to focus at such a distance, most often by focusing progressively at closer and closer distances. Luckily for Sony, this can be forgiven, since once the focus is achieved, it is a matter of cropping the image if necessary. The lens ensures that the image stays tack sharp. Software-wise, it is everything you would come to expect of a Sony digital camera and a little bit more. Intelligent Auto is not only intelligent, it is also quick and accurate at doing its job. This means less time is wasted refocusing and getting the camera to reconsider its scene option while the scene whizzes past you. Superior Auto maxes out the camera's processing power by activating additional stabilization and adding multi-shot features, including both successive image captures and composite image captures, to help users greatly increase their chances of catching a sharp and evenly exposed image in darker conditions. In other words, even if you don't know anything about messing around with camera settings, you can use these two modes and be sure that the camera will take advantage of all of its power to give you great looking photos, at least most of the time. I also like that the creative styles, which provides the image toning options, offer you further customization for each mode, like contrast, sharpness, and saturation. And the picture effects, the fancy sort mentioned at the beginning of this video, are easily accessible along the back panel's scroll wheel. Speaking of which, buttons are nicely placed and you can have a good grip while keeping a finger literally on the camera's key controls. The screen is also bright and doesn't make your image look better than it is, like what used to happen in the older alpha DSLRs. At a battery rating of 330 shots, this camera can quite easily last a day on vacation. Not an excuse for heavy users not to get an extra battery, but not the biggest deal if you choose not to. Oh, and the camera can charge by USB. That's one less charger to bring. This camera is a prime example of a compact camera that can actually surpass a good number of DSLRs today in image quality. All it needs now is to have a hot shoe or remote flash triggering capabilities. It is solid proof that a camera's success lies in its lens and sensor, not what you can do to images after you have taken them. Sony has definitely spotted the market with this camera, and it will be exciting to see other camera brands try to top this achievement. And that was the Sony Cybershot RX100. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website at www.tech65.org.